What's up friends and welcome to our studio. Today we are making some really brutal sounds for techno, and if you are listening to artists like Holy Priest or Vortek and struggling to get this exact sound, you are in the right place. So sit back, relax and enjoy, because I'm going to break down top 3 Screech sounds I actually using all the time. Starting from the wavetables and oscillators, we are actually using all of them. The first one is basic MTC, it has the perfect initial tone we need. The second one will be a bit different as well as the third one, but let's take a look at the most essential settings. OCA has only one voice of unison, and the FM modulation from noise we are going to set up later. Instead, oscillator B has 16 voices and detuned to the absolute maximum. In terms of warping, it's PD from A to catch that harsh metallic structure of the sound. And the third oscillator is set to 16 voices as well, and the same amount of PD mode. The only difference is that it's set up 1 octave higher, so we are getting that nice layer in between the sounds. And of course the noise oscillator itself. Here is the noise I'm using, you can find it in analog, and the most important part is to set up the level to 0 dB. We only need to modulate from it, not to play the actual noise. Now going to LFOs, we are modulating the pitch of all 3 layers just a little bit, so we are getting a slight pitch modulation before sound starts. I'm going to matrix, and here you can see source, destination and amount. The plugin chain I'm using consists of distortion, delay, reverb, compressor and EQ. For the distortion, the mode is hard clip with drive and mix set up to 100% for the maximum crunch. For the delay is just a little bit of it, I'd say around 10 to 15% with a really short feedback, so we are getting just a little bit of echo in the background. The same story with the reverb. It's not very long, it just creates some space around the sound and that's it. And my favorite trick is putting those two before the compressor, so the echo and ambience of the sound is squashed together perfectly with the dry signal. Speaking about the compressor settings themselves, it's multiband mode, also known as OTT, and a very simple low cut around 200 I say, and I really don't do any other tweaks, because as for me the sound is already complete. The difference between FM Screech and RM Screech is that FM Screech sounds a little bit more tonal and focused in terms of frequencies, but the RM Screech is a completely opposite thing. It's even more metallic, raw and unpredictable. Starting with the wavetable and oscillators, again, it's all of them as well as the same wavetable for all 3 oscillators. Also all of them are set up to 3 voices of unison and RM modulation from noise. However, there is a difference between the tune settings and exact RM modulation position, so let's break it down. Talking about the exact values, it's around 70% on A, closer to 80% on B and around 50% on C. Oh, let's also not forget about octaves. It's 1, 0 and 2 on layers A, B, C respectively. On the very first layer the tune is a little bit more than half, and layers B and C have even more of it, so even before we are starting RM modulation, we are getting the difference between all the layers. And talking about the modulation source itself, here you can grab it in analog section, and the same story there. Leave the volume completely off. One more thing that makes the sound a screech is a slight pitch modulation, and here's how the specific curve looks. So jumping into matrix again, this time the position is 9%, which equals around 11 semitones. So now it's time to take a look at the effects section, which has distortion, compressor, delay and reverb. The character of distortion is tube, with both drive and mix set to 100%. Same as previous time, compressor is in multiband mode as well. It really helps to get the top end grid without using EQ and make it overly harsh. Delay is more focused on the high frequencies now, with the mix around 10%, and the reverb is also short as well, with 15% mix and around 4 seconds decay, so it fades away really slowly into the mix. And here it comes, the most brutal screech we are going to remake today, and honestly I think it's way too different from all other screeches I have ever heard. This time we are using analog wavetables, basic mini for OSCA and basic sine wave for B and C. Honestly it doesn't even matter that much, the source of the sound is different anyway. Same as with FM Screech, the modulation source is FM from noise on all of them, and the warp is around 70%. A and B are 2 octaves higher, while C layer is only 1 octave higher. When making this type of screech, the main tone designers are the noise itself and the filter mode and position. So talking about noise, here is the one I decided to use this time. And filter is where it becomes really interesting. Going to the filter design specifically for Serum 2, I am selecting Comp Filter 2, targeting OCA only for the specific type of sound. And now here are the exact settings for filtering. Cut off on 860, resonance on 80% and drive a little bit more than half. And this time LFO pitch mode is absolutely essential, especially the ray setting, which is 256. And this time in the matrix we can see different amount of pitch range as well, so make sure to copy that carefully. Usually I try to be very minimal with my processing and do all the most important steps when creating the sound itself, so this preset is no exception, just indeed necessary stuff. Distortion is in asymmetrical mode with specific frequency focus around 1K and drive and mix to the maximum as always. This time I also introduced chorus because I wanted to bring even more movement to the sound. Multiband OTT density, whatever you call it, to squeeze the sound completely, and just imagine how much low end comes from all that. So we need to take control of it as well. And the last step is reverb, but this time using a bit more than usually, and also with a longer decay time. So the screech is really drowning into the reverb. So guys, let me know in the comments what screech is the most brutal to your taste, and if you want me to go even harder next time, while we're making some of your favorite artist presets. And by the way, let me know in the comments who they are, so I might consider covering them in the very next episode. But for today, those are the hardest sounds I could make. So see you soon in the next tutorials and videos. Bye!